mind is working, it directly proves that we are not the mind, but the mind is ours. Similarly, when our senses are working, we know that the senses are working. Therefore, they belong to us and we are not the senses. If we go to our intelligence, we know that we are intelligent. When we know we are intelligent, our intelligence belongs to ourselves and it is not ourselves. Then what is it? Is our logic. When it is our logic, it cannot be ourselves. Is it our understanding? When it is our understanding, so there is much there as the ray of light that is coming from us. And no part of the ray that is coming from us is ourselves. Just as the light that is filling this room is not the real source of illumination. The existence of the light in this room depends upon the source of illumination and it has no existence of its own at all. Similarly, the action of our mind, intelligence, logic and thought and our body and our actions, they all put together, they form the light that is shining from us and we are not at all that. That is included in us, but we are not that. So, once again, let us make a clever approach. We can immediately know that this is all our negative existence. Our thoughts are often negative because we identify ourselves with our thoughts. When we express our thought through a sentence to others, we say, I feel like this, instead of saying, this is my thought. So we identify ourselves with our thoughts. And sometimes we say, it appears to me, but the fact is, it is appearing to our mind and not me. That means we are identifying ourselves with the mind. Like that, we are identifying with one part or the other which is negative and which has no positive existence at all. Therefore, much of us, many of the time, are living a negative existence. Unless we begin to feel our positive existence, there is no solution to the enigma of our life. That's why the ancient philosophers said that the body, mind and senses, they are functions of the sense organs and the impressions of the environment they receive, they are only projections, creating an illusion, just as the projector projects the cinema upon the screen. Just as the cinema is not a truth on the screen, just as the cinema does not exist on the screen or TV, all the life we are living does not belong to us. This is what the philosophers said. To whichever country they belonged and to whichever cult they belonged. And they asked us to retrace the path. Then we will be able to know. Otherwise, as long as we prolong the negative life, we prove negative to not only ourselves but also to others. For example, when a plant exists, it gives fertility to the soil. After it takes something from the fertility of the soil. Whenever the tree sheds its leaves on the soil, the leaves get mixed up with the soil and add to the fertility of the soil. This is because previously the plant has taken something from the soil. So the life of the plant is positive and not negative. And if you take the life of any animal, it has a positive step for every negative step it creates. The cattle eat the plant and they excrete that which is fertile to the soil. So the existence of the animal is positive to the creation. Then what about the human being? He eats the plant and he eats the animal. And unless he produces something which is useful to the plant and the animal, he cannot undergo the required training to add something to his fellow being, human being. How can nature believe that man will be helpful to man when he ceases to be helpful to the plant and the animal? So, much of our existence is negative. We eat from nature. We destroy the sources of nature. and we fail to produce. Unless we take a special care, we create a deficiency in the resources of nature, and the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom also suffers because of our presence. Whenever a group of human beings live at a place, gradually the soil loses its fertility and they have to migrate into another place so that they may plunder the fertility of this soil once again. So the whole process seems to be much negative when a group of animals live in a cattle shed. What they produce is useful to the man and what they excrete is useful to the soil. Same thing with the plant also. But when the number of human beings increase, the place will be unfit and a great loss and deficiency in nature's resources is being produced. Is this necessary? Is it necessarily true with the human being? In fact, it is not. It happens so because we are living a negative existence. When we begin to live a positive existence, we can serve the plant and make it fruitful. We can serve the cattle and make it wealthy. We can feed the animal with the plant and we can use the excrete of the animal to the plant. And we can be benefited from the plant without killing the plant. And we can be benefited by the animal without killing the animal. So instead of living like the son-in-law of this creation, why can't we live as a reliable member of the biological kingdom? Why can't we make life fruitful? Why can't we establish a triangle of symbiosis between man, animal and plant? We can't because we are living a negative life. When we begin to awaken positively, we will understand that our life is also positive, that the intellectual life we live is useful to no one else in this world. If I am a great philosopher, what is it to the plant kingdom and animal kingdom? If I have to be a great scientist, what is it to the earth's rotation? The real wealth is what I add to the living beings in this creation. When we have a stature to think like that, we begin to live in ourselves and we can direct our light in the required direction. Just as the architects in this hall have directed the light into the hall. See how the light which is filling in this hall is not true. It is not the true light, but yet it is being properly directed towards us so that our room is properly illuminated and we are able to look to each other, speak to each other and read books and understand in the same light which is not true light, which is only the rays of the light that are shining downward. Similarly, when you know your positive existence, you can direct your mind and senses, the functions of the sense organs and the impressions of the environment. You can keep them away from being conditioning you, and you will live without being conditioned by them, and you can shine through them out, and you can project the lights according to the need, either to the fellow beings or to yourself. First of all, we should know how we are serving as a negative pole to this creation. That is receiving pole. We should have a transmitting pole. Then we can solve our own riddle or enigma. Understand the real existence of yourself and the false existence of yourself. Then you can steer the false existence into the real usefulness of others. Understand your personality, just as your body and mind are not yourself. Your thoughts and ideas are not yourself. Your beliefs and ideals are not yourself. You are yourself, the pure. And all the other things are layers of yourself, made up of yourself. No layer is yourself, but you cannot be located in any one of these layers. If you examine an onion, you will understand that there are many layers in the onion. When the boy begins to peel off the outer layer, trying to get the real onion inside, he will find the second layer. When he peels off the second layer, to secure the real onion, he will find the third layer. So on he goes until no onion exists. He is disappointed in the end because there is no onion. The whole of the onion is made up of layers and layers, but no layer is the onion itself. Then where do you locate the onion? Onion is not a location, but it is an existence. Layers have a location on the onion because there is not an existence. The layers exist because the onion exists. But the layers are to be seen and onion is not seen. The truth is the onion and the layers are not the truth of the onion. The layers are the negative existence of onion. If you know the onion, you can use the layers for some purpose of cooking. If you do not know the onion, you will peel off layer after layer like the boy and lose the onion at all. That is what we the intellectuals do. We lose ourselves because we want some layer of our intellect as our ideal, as our aspiration and as our hope. So we live for hope. We die in the hope. And the total life becomes hopeless. But hope is real when it finds out something real. Where does the real onion exist? When you put all the layers and tie them with a string, can you call it onion? You can call it only a bundle of the layers of onion, but you can no more call it onion. As long as all the layers exist in oneness, you can call it onion. But once you separate them, even though you tie them together with a string, you can call it only a bundle of the layers because the onion no more exists. It is only the negative existence you are finding and not at all the positive existence. Where does the positive existence is found? It is not the unity of the layers. It is not even the union of all the layers, but it is the oneness which previously existed. The oneness of the onion exists in the beginning. After we misbehave and again try to recollect, it is not the oneness that exists, but it is the unity or the union that exists. Understand that the unity and union are not oneness. Oneness is natural to the onion. Unity and union are unnatural to the onion. You can use the same terms. So you can very easily understand oneness is natural and unity and union are unnatural. That's the reason why the politicians and the international political fellows miserably fail to bring us together. Because they believe in unity and union, they do not know the oneness at all. They put their signatures on a paper above which it is written that we do not quarrel with each other. After putting their signatures, they try to live without quarreling, but one has to order and the others have to follow. And they begin to quarrel who has to order and who is to follow. So the signatures are once again burnt. Signatures are corpses of signatures because it is only for the unity and union that the political fellows try. But the human nature is neither unity nor union, and you should try to know the oneness, not to bind people together with a rope in the name of political parties and nation. Understand a higher truth exists in you. Understand the oneness already exists in you. The synthesis already exists in you. It caused your birth. It caused the solids, liquids and gases come together as your body. It caused the flower of your mind blossom into the five-petaled flower which we call the senses. So understand the original oneness that still exists in you. That is yourself. And you are not the mind, senses and functions and organs. That oneness is the onion which cannot be seen because the effect of oneness can be seen as the layers of the onion. The effects are not the causes. Now gradually you try to live in your positive existence. Through meditation, through practice of virtue, benevolence, tolerance, you will come to know of your real existence. Through the principle of inclusion, you will know yourself. If you exclude others, If you find out who are fit and who are not fit, you can never begin to exist in your real existence. See how Jesus Christ never separated sinners from saints.
Von den anderen
Because his principle is love and inclusion. Not to separate the believer and the non-believer
nicht
and make a political approach in the name of God. That's the reason why Christ is always above Christianity. That's the reason why Buddha is always above Buddhism. Try to understand what the oneness is in them. It is only by a principle of inclusion. If an Indian knows a German how he is different from himself, and if a German knows a French how he is different from himself, we can never into the true living. We can never enter into our identification consciousness should be there. Now what we are having is identity consciousness. We are very timid of losing our identity. We want to keep up our identity separately from others. That means we are innately timid. We are having the instinct of fear, which we have inherited from our animal births. And in the stage of the animal, fear has a value because it exists only as an instinct. It helps the animal to protect itself and its own kids. It is not so with we human beings. We have intellectualized fear and we have magnified the picture and we have interpreted our own fear in thousands and thousands of methods to such an extent that the magnification on the screen is many thousands of times bigger than ourselves. So the fear of animals is useful to animals, but the fear of the human being is not at all useful to the human being. It is binding and killing and eating the human being. It is making life a race and not a joy. Many people are living away their lives because they are born. Many people live until they die, but they do not live before they die. It is not the length of the span that we can call life, but it is the joy of life that we can call real life. If you feel happy for yourself that you are living, if you wholeheartedly feel that this earth is a heaven, not to boast to others, but to accept to yourself, that is what we can call real life or positive life. We gave fear more prominence than to ourselves. We are not confident of our future. Therefore, we have discovered the insurance. Still, our fears are not gone. Therefore, we have discovered what we call pension. Still, our fear exists about the future. We have once again discovered what is called gratuity. That is the benefits after our salary, after the benefits of service. Still, our fear is not gone. So we have discovered what is called the Provident Fund. We receive many promises from the governments. Still we are not sure of our future. See how fear haunts us and makes us discover so many meaningless promises to ourselves. How the animals are living. Are they having insurance? Are they having pension? Are they having the promise of gratuity? Provident Fund. Okay, you can leave those terms because they cannot be translated. The bird that is existing in the nest, which is bringing something in its beak to its little ones, is it having the dirty mind to think of tomorrow? Does that mean tomorrow it cannot have its own food or food to its little ones? The bird and its little ones are living as much as we are living. But they are living more than what we are living. Because we live with fear, but they live in the joy of the present. But we boast of our intellectualism and we call the birds and the animals ignorant. Because they do not have the intelligence enough to know the future, they are not suffering for tomorrow. We think like that. But how can we thank our intelligence which makes us restless and hopeless? Can we call it intelligence? What is our intelligence in calling it intelligence? Shamelessly. Then we will enter into the positive way of living. Nature is there, which is a promise to everyone. And fear is there to every living being as the instinct to protect itself and its younger ones. So, to the human being also, it should be the same. But the human being has become a great scholar of fear. We cannot think of life without fear. We have to know a life without fear. We should know what love is, what inclusion is, and what identification. The timidness to keep up our identity should go. The lack of self-confidence should go. If I write a good textbook, give the manuscript to a friend of mine, why should I doubt if the fellow may print it in his name? Why should I feel if the fellow may plagiarize my ideas into his book? If he does, is it not a pleasure that the ideas are being propagated in the world? Let us test ourselves. Let us go and stand before the mirror in the room and ask ourselves, is the bird in the nest, making outlines of its own location on the tree and preparing a blueprint of its own site on the tree, and is it going to the registrar of land registration and getting that part of the branch registered in his own name and paying much money to the previous bird who had sold the branch to him? How foolish it is for the bird to sell the part of the branch to another bird. Is it not equally foolish for a man to sell land to another man? Let us try to question ourselves, not others. If I question others, they begin to question me. Let every one of go into the room and look into the mirror and put these questions for an answer. The answer is what we call the positive life of man. If at all we can endure the answer, if at all we can face our mirror while getting this answer, we will enter into positive life. We too can live as fearlessly as the birds and the beasts. In addition to all the knowledge and philosophy and science we have, this is one aspect which we have to, before we understand the sentence, man, know thyself. The second aspect is we should know the critical point of evolution from the time we entered into the human kingdom. We are endowed with certain amount of intelligence and the power to create our own future, which is not given to any animal or plant or bird or beast. The needs of the plants and animals are protected by nature. The animal or the plant is not permitted to eat when it is not, you cannot ask your dog to eat the supper a second time because it is the occasion of your daughter's marriage. If the dog is full, if it doesn't require any food, it never eats unless it is trained by us for some time.